What if some of Hollywood's biggest stars weren't just hiding secrets, but running from them? Jaguar Wright isn't holding back anymore, and the names she's dropping are shaking the entire industry. From whispers of Diddy being more than just a music mogul, to shocking claims that A-list icons like Beyoncé, Oprah, and Jennifer Lopez have deeper ties than anyone imagined. The spotlight has never been this dangerous. Cameras are going dark, PR teams are scrambling, and the world is left wondering, who's really in control of the stories we've been told? For years, Diddy was celebrated as the ultimate mogul, an untouchable king of hip-hop, fashion, and business. But behind the glamorous parties and flashing lights, Jaguar Wright claims there was a darker reality unfolding in every corner of his empire. According to insiders, every room in his mansions was wired with hidden cameras. Guests thought they were at legendary parties, but in truth, they were being watched, recorded, and, if the rumors are true, set up for blackmail. It didn't stop with rising artists desperate for a break. Athletes, celebrities, politicians, even members of royal families were allegedly caught in compromising positions. Drinks laced, footage captured, and careers placed in the palm of Diddy's hand. He could build you up as the next big thing, or destroy you with the push of a button. But the most shocking claim isn't just about the tapes. Jaguar and others have pointed to whispers that Diddy was working as an FBI informant, a man who lived larger than life yet somehow dodged case after case, charge after charge. Could it be coincidence? Or was there always someone protecting him from the inside? And just when you think the story couldn't get darker, Jaguar turned her focus away from Diddy himself and toward some of the biggest names who stood right beside him. When Jaguar Wright started naming names, the first bomb she dropped was aimed straight at Beyoncé and Jay-Z. For years, she's claimed that Beyoncé wasn't just standing by while Jay-Z and Diddy threw their infamous parties. She was right there in the middle of it. Jaguar alleges that Beyoncé not only attended those nights but actively helped cover up what was happening, protecting both men and, in return, reaping the rewards. According to Jaguar, Beyoncé's meteoric rise after marrying Jay-Z wasn't just about talent, it was about silence. Every Grammy, every chart-topping hit, every industry door that opened. Jaguar suggests it came at the cost of turning a blind eye to what was happening behind closed doors. One victim even claimed Beyoncé was present, watching as the abuse unfolded, and chose to protect her husband instead of speaking out. And Jaguar didn't hold back on Beyoncé personally either. She called her vain, cold, and dumb as a sack of hair, saying that if it weren't for her singing and dancing, she'd be nothing more than a shampoo girl in her mother's salon. Brutal words, but Jaguar insists Beyoncé's greatest flaw isn't ignorance, it's complicity. What makes this even stranger? Despite all the accusations, despite Jaguar publicly blasting Beyoncé and Jay-Z on national television, neither of them has filed a defamation lawsuit. Their legal team sent a cease and desist to stop one interview from airing, but beyond that, silence. And fans online have noticed, asking the same question over and over. If Jaguar is lying, why not take her to court? But Beyoncé wasn't the only high-profile figure pulled into Jaguar's storm. Next, she turned her spotlight on one of the most infamous supermodels of all time, a woman whose history with Diddy stretches back decades. Naomi Campbell has been one of fashion's brightest stars for more than 3 decades. But behind the runway glamour lies a trail of controversy that seems to follow her everywhere. And when Jaguar Wright began exposing Diddy's inner circle, Naomi's name surfaced again and again. For nearly 20 years, Naomi and Diddy were inseparable at events, parties, and high-profile gatherings. But Naomi's connections went beyond music. She was photographed alongside Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, both later exposed for running one of the darkest operations in modern history. When the Epstein scandal broke, Naomi quickly distanced herself, claiming she barely knew him. But critics pointed out the photos, the trips, the associations, and wondered how much she really knew. And Naomi's history of violence didn't help her case. Long before social media could turn every scandal viral, she was already in courtrooms facing assault charges. Throwing phones at assistants, choking staff, spitting at police officers, her temper became infamous. over 10 separate cases, yet somehow she avoided serious jail time. Every time a suspended sentence or a fine. The timing raised eyebrows. Her violent incident started in the late 90s, around the same period she became close to Diddy. Some began to question whether the same protection that seemed to shield him was also covering her. One of her more recent cases, just a year before the raid on Diddy's Miami mansion, had her back in court again, this time for scratching a photographer's eye. Once more, she walked away with nothing more than a suspended prison term. For fans, Naomi's story is a puzzle of contradictions, a celebrated icon on one side, a repeat offender on the other. And when Jaguar linked her to Diddy's alleged parties, the question became harder to ignore. Was Naomi just a guest, or something more? But Naomi wasn't the only star whose past came back to haunt them. The next name Jaguar called out shocked Hollywood even more, because this time, the evidence came in the form of a resurfaced video the world couldn't unsee. When Demi Moore's name came up in Jaguar Wright's claims, fans were stunned. For decades, Demi has been praised as one of Hollywood's most iconic leading ladies, the face of blockbusters like Ghost and G.I. Jane. But recently, a disturbing clip from her past began circulating again, and it forced people to look at her legacy in a completely different light. The footage shows a young Demi at the height of her fame, sharing a stage with a teenage boy. At first, it looks like a playful moment in front of the cameras. But then Demi suddenly leans in and kisses him on the lips. The boy was reportedly just 15 years old at the time. The clip, long buried in old interviews, resurfaced on social media, and fans were outraged. Critics argued that if the roles were reversed, a grown man kissing a teenage girl, it would have ended his career immediately. Yet Demi faced almost no backlash when it first happened. The industry looked the other way, brushing it off as harmless. But in today's climate, the video feels impossible to ignore. Jaguar pointed to this moment as part of a larger pattern, the way Hollywood protects certain stars, allowing them to escape scrutiny, while others are destroyed for far less. Demi's public image as a free-spirited, rebellious actress only added fuel to the fire. Was she just another A-lister shielded by the system, just like Diddy and Naomi? And this wasn't the only time Demi faced uncomfortable questions. Rumors about her relationship with Ashton Kutcher, who is 15 years younger, sparked endless gossip. Some fans now look back and wonder, was the power dynamic ever truly equal? The resurfaced clip left viewers unsettled, but Jaguar's next revelation pushed things into even darker territory. Because the next star she called out wasn't an actress, but one of the most powerful media figures in history, someone millions of people once trusted without question. For years, Ellen DeGeneres was seen as America's sweetheart, the dancing, joke-cracking host whose talk show became a global brand. But in 2020, that image cracked wide open. Former staff members came forward describing the set of The Ellen DeGeneres Show as a toxic workplace, filled with fear, bullying, and cover-ups. Suddenly, the woman who built her empire on kindness was being painted as the complete opposite. The scandal grew so intense that Ellen was forced to publicly apologize on air. Ratings tanked, and within months, her once unshakable show came to an abrupt end. But what really shocked fans wasn't just the fall of a TV icon, it was what happened after. Ellen didn't stick around to rebuild her image. Instead, she quietly retreated, and before long, reports surfaced that she had left the country altogether. According to multiple outlets, Ellen sold off several of her lavish California properties and relocated overseas, spending long stretches of time in Montecito, Australia, and even Rwanda, where she had been funding wildlife conservation projects. Some fans saw it as a retreat into private life. Others, fueled by Jaguar Wright's claims, suggested it was an escape, a way to put distance between herself and the storm that was still brewing in Hollywood. And here's where it gets even more intriguing. Despite being one of the most visible TV personalities in the world, Ellen virtually disappeared from the spotlight after her exit. No new projects, no late-night interviews, no attempt at a comeback. For someone who lived off fame, the silence felt unusual. Was Ellen simply tired of fame after decades in front of the camera? Or, as rumors online suggested, Was she quietly distancing herself from Hollywood's unraveling secrets before they caught up to her? But if Ellen's quiet exit was suspicious, the next revelation was even more chilling. Because Jaguar turned her attention to a global icon with unimaginable influence, someone whose reputation has already faced whispers of scandal. Oprah Winfrey has long been called the queen of all media, a billionaire mogul whose influence stretches from daytime television to politics, publishing, and beyond. For millions, she's a symbol of inspiration and empowerment. But in recent years, whispers around her name have become louder, and Jaguar Wright didn't hesitate to drag Oprah into the storm. One of the biggest controversies revolves around Oprah's past connections to disgraced figures like Harvey Weinstein. For years, they were photographed together at Hollywood events, smiling side by side. Oprah even introduced Weinstein to aspiring actresses, encouraging them to trust him. After his downfall, critics accused her of knowing more than she let on, using her power and credibility to help shield a predator. But the Weinstein scandal wasn't the only shadow over Oprah's empire. Online rumors tied her to Jeffrey Epstein as well, citing alleged visits to his infamous island. No hard evidence ever surfaced, but the speculation gained traction, especially as fans pointed to the way other elites distanced themselves from Epstein, while Oprah largely stayed silent. Then came the accusations closer to home. Jaguar claimed that Oprah built her career not only through hard work, but by protecting the very same powerful men she pretended to challenge on television. And when you look back, some moments feel eerily out of place, like Oprah's glowing interviews with controversial stars or her failure to address certain scandals involving her closest friends in Hollywood. Adding to the suspicion, conspiracy theories exploded online during 2020, when a bizarre rumor circulated that Oprah had been placed under house arrest. She quickly denied it, but the story spread like wildfire, leaving behind a permanent stain on her image. For decades, Oprah was untouchable, a cultural giant. But with Jaguar putting her name alongside Diddy, Beyoncé, and Naomi Campbell, fans began asking, was Oprah truly the guiding light she appeared to be? Or just another piece in Hollywood's carefully guarded puzzle? And Jaguar wasn't done. Because the final name she exposed wasn't a media mogul or a supermodel. It was one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, someone whose career has been shrouded in whispers for years. Jennifer Lopez has always been seen as the glamorous, unstoppable superstar, an actress, singer, and dancer who built an empire of her own. But her history with Diddy remains one of the most controversial chapters of her career. And thanks to Jaguar Wright's claims, that night in New York City is once again under the microscope. Back in December 1999, JLo and Diddy were at a Manhattan nightclub when chaos broke out. Shots were fired, 3 people were injured, and the glamorous couple suddenly found themselves in the middle of a criminal investigation. Police said a gun was found in Diddy's car, and witnesses claimed he was trying to bribe bystanders to stay quiet. JLo, who was still building her acting and music career, was arrested along with Diddy. The image of her in handcuffs made headlines around the world. But while Diddy's case dragged on for years, JLo walked away with no charges. Almost overnight, her name was cleared, while Diddy's reputation took the hit. Jaguar pointed to this as yet another example of Hollywood's hidden deals, asking why JLo was released so quickly and how she managed to protect her rising career when anyone else in her position would have been destroyed. Rumors suggest that powerful lawyers and industry insiders stepped in, shielding her from the kind of scandal that could have ended her career before it even peaked. Even stranger? Not long after the shooting, JLo quietly distanced herself from Diddy, leaving behind the man she had once called the love of her life. Some say it was because of his legal troubles. Others believe she knew more about that night than she ever revealed. And to this day, JLo has never gone into detail about what happened in that club or why she left Diddy so suddenly. But Jaguar's allegations reignited the conversation, forcing fans to wonder, was JLo simply at the wrong place at the wrong time? Or was there something much bigger happening behind the scenes? Because as shocking as that night was, Jaguar's final warning wasn't about a single scandal. It was about a system designed to protect the powerful at any cost. If Jaguar Wright's accusations weren't enough, the storm grew even darker when Suge Knight, the infamous former head of Death Row Records, began speaking out from behind bars. Known for his brutal reputation in the music industry, Suge has always carried an aura of danger. But in recent interviews, he's dropped claims that shook hip-hop to its core. Suge openly suggested that some of the most shocking deaths in music history weren't random tragedies at all. They were orchestrated hits. He implied that Diddy himself might have played a role in the shooting of Tupac Shakur, a crime that has haunted the industry for nearly 3 decades. According to Suge, powerful players in the business wanted Tupac gone, and Diddy wasn't just a bystander. Even more chilling, Suge hinted that Biggie's death was also part of the same twisted web, a cycle of betrayal and backroom deals that left 2 of hip-hop's greatest legends dead within months of each other. While Suge's credibility has always been debated, the fact that he's been so blunt about Diddy's alleged involvement makes his words impossible to ignore. Jaguar echoed those claims, arguing that Suge wasn't just talking wild from prison, he was pulling back the curtain on how the music industry really works. An industry where success is built not just on talent, but on loyalty, silence, and sometimes blood. The combination of Jaguar's bombshells and Suge's prison confessions left fans questioning everything they thought they knew about hip-hop's golden era. Were these legendary artists truly victims of random violence? Or were their fates sealed by the very industry they helped build? And with Suge naming names and Jaguar adding fuel to the fire, one thing became clear. Hollywood's shadows are much darker than the public ever imagined. But even after all the accusations, rumors, and explosive claims, the biggest question still lingers. What happens if even a fraction of this is true? From Jaguar Wright's relentless accusations to Suge Knight's chilling confessions, one theme keeps surfacing. Hollywood isn't just glitz and glamour. Behind the red carpets and award shows lies a maze of secrets, scandals, and power games that the public rarely sees. Diddy, Beyoncé, Naomi Campbell, Demi Moore, Ellen, Oprah, JLo, and Suge Knight, all connected through whispers of blackmail, cover-ups, and choices that shaped entire careers. Some of the stories might never be proven. Some may remain in the realm of speculation forever. But the fact that these names keep reappearing, tied to rumors and shadows, forces us to wonder, how much of what we're told about our idols is real? And how much is carefully crafted illusion? Hollywood has always thrived on image. But when those images start to crack, the truth that seeps out is often darker than anyone imagined. And if Jaguar Wright is right, even about a fraction of what she's claimed, then the industry we think we know is built on secrets too explosive to ever fully come to light. So the question isn't just who's telling the truth. The question is, who still has something left to hide?